What I need you to remember is that if we do want to build a successful business, and if we want to stay creatively active, and if we want to stay passionate without burning out, every project that we take on should bring us some kind of value. And that value varies, like it can be different. And we'll go through the different kinds of value, but the golden rule really is there is a golden rule. Okay. The golden rule really is that whenever we have an offer or an opportunity on the table where we are not going to get paid in full, we have to put ourselves first and we have to ask ourselves, what is in it for me? This is your host, Dyutama, but you can call me DJ. And I love to inspire food photographers to dream. I spent 15 years as an architect studying buildings and constructing hospitals before taking the biggest leap of faith of my life, which was setting up a food styling and food photography business right from scratch. If you're a dreamer like me, wanting to start a new photography business or grow your existing food photography business, jump right into a world where I share practical, actionable strategies to improve your photography skills, to work with clients, make more money, all with a fearless mindset. This is the My Food Lens podcast, and we take you one step closer to your dreams. So let's go. Welcome to another episode of the My Food Lens podcast. You see, matters regarding money are such a pain point for us creatives. Would you agree? Oh my God. If you gave us a choice, like literally all the creatives, if you gave us a choice, all we would want to do is take beautiful photos, stay passionate, stay creative, stay in that zone. If only someone could take over the boring and somewhat intimidating task of determining your fee, of setting your fee, your rates, negotiating, marketing, pitching. Oh my God. And while we work so hard in not just honing our creative talents and technical skills and learning the A to Z of everything in business, we run into yet another pain point. A pain point that makes us very angry. It makes us very irritated, makes us very frustrated, and oftentimes it makes us unmotivated. You know what I'm talking about? Well, that pain point is not being valued. Our work constantly being undervalued, constantly being asked to lower our rates, not getting hired if we want to charge what we think is fair compensation. And worst of all, being offered products in exchange for our services instead of money, instead of cash. Yes. Now are you with me? Right? We are constantly falling into this dilemma and asking ourselves, should I create those recipes? Should I create those reels? Should I create those photos in exchange for a bottle of truffle salt? In exchange for a bottle of spices? And should I spend hours developing this recipe, writing it, filming it, shooting it, and then posting it? And then I'll just cross my fingers and hope that the brand will come back to work with me because they said they want to build a relationship with me. Is all of this sounding way too familiar? Some of your thoughts echoing here? Oh, well, isn't this just such an energy drainer, right? It just sucks the joy out of the process. And we just constantly feel like, why can't brands just be fair? I mean, they sell their products. And so how can they expect for us to work in exchange for a bag of rice? They make profit from our photography, but they expect to get away by giving us lifetime, 100% lifetime, 10% discount on their products and on products that we don't even use. Oh, goodness. And then there are those, oh gosh, you have to hear this one. Okay. So then there are those who want to make us pull out every strand of our hair because that is less painful than hearing them say, oh, but photography is so easy. You've just got to click. Could you just take a few photos of my food? We'd love to offer you a free lunch at our restaurant as a gesture of thank you for that. Every time I hear this, oh my God, every time I hear such like a free meal offer, I just want to like rip my eyeballs out so that I can never take another photo and never be offered free meals. Okay, I'm kidding. I would never rip my eyeballs out. I love my eyeballs. Okay. But come on now. You also know what I'm getting at. These offers are so common. They're so common. We hear them day in and day out, and they're so frustrating. And you know what the truth is. The truth is, we cannot get away from them. I mean, it's not in our control what someone else does and how they see us. It's not in our control. We cannot get away from those who undervalue our work. I mean, this is undervaluing our work, right? And we can't get away from those who will offer product, and we can't get away from those who will offer a free meal for a photo shoot. And honestly, you and I both know that there are plenty of photographers out there who are willing to do all of these things without realizing how much harm they're bringing themselves and to the industry. But what does this mean? Does this mean, when I say that, does this mean that we never take on such offers, that we always decline such opportunities, that we only work when we are paid in full, we are paid hard cash on the spot? Not really. Not really. Working for free or working in exchange for product. Now, is it good practice? Not really. But it's a choice. Okay. You have to know that there are no rules, right? So everyone can play by what works for them. If it works for them, working for free in exchange for product, fine, great. There's no right or wrong. And that's it. That's it. That's the catch. That's where I need your attention today. That there's no right or wrong. However, there are good practices and bad practices. Now, before I go any further, I want to emphasize something. And I think if you're running a food photography business, you definitely want to pay attention to what I'm going to say. Now, remember, if you're running a food photography business, if this is also your part-time or full-time business, remember that it is your business. And don't let anyone make you feel about your decisions. Okay. It's your business, your decisions, and you know what works best for you. So take decisions that will bring you profit, and they will also motivate you to build something bigger in your business. I mean, use the opinion, use the education that you get from others as a guide. And I'm saying this before I share what I'm going to share. Okay. So I'm saying that take other people's opinion and their education as a guide, but ultimately decide what works for you. And that's how every piece of advice should actually come to you. There are no rules. It's your business. Okay. So use whatever comes to you as a guide, and don't let anyone make you feel bad about what you decide. And don't let anyone tell you that there's a hard right or wrong in business, unless there really is. But just staying on this topic, there mostly isn't. But do what you think is morally right and what works for you and what you think is most beneficial for you in the long run. Any advice that you get, use it as a guide. All right. So when we say that there's no hard right or wrong in business, that's it. That's where the opportunity lies sometimes. That's what I said, right? That's what the catch is. That's where I need you to pay attention today. Sometimes we want to work for free. Okay. Sometimes we do. There. I said it. I said it. Sometimes we do want to work for free. And you need to hear this. Take it as a permission. But before you decide to take on the next offer you receive, hear me out fully before you say, yeah, someone's given me permission to work for free. No, hold on. It just means that there are situations in which you might want to consider working for free, or you might want to consider working in exchange for a product or maybe a free meal or some other offer, an offer basically other than being paid in full. So I'm going to share how to decide, how to make that wise choice, how to make an informed decision, and when to consider working for free. What I need you to remember is that if we do want to build a successful business, and if we want to stay creatively active, and if we want to stay passionate without burning out, every project that we take on should bring us some kind of value. And that value varies, like it can be different. And we'll go through the different kinds of value, but the golden rule really is, there is a golden rule, okay? The golden rule really is that whenever we have an offer or an opportunity on the table where we are not going to get paid in full, we have to put ourselves first, and we have to ask ourselves, what is in it for me? Yes, That is the golden rule. You have to look out for yourself. You have to put yourself first, and you have to ask, what is in it for me? That's the basis for taking a decision that will leave you joyful, satisfied, profitable, and creative in spite of not being paid in cash. Okay. So now, very quickly, let's discuss how you can make that right decision for yourself. Let's just begin right at the top. So, whenever you have an offer, whenever there is a brand that is offering maybe a free product, a gift card, or maybe they are offering exposure, or maybe a free meal, whatever that is, whatever they are offering, the first thing you need to think about is the golden rule. You have to ask yourself, what can this do for me? What can it do for me? Think about the value of the project for yourself. Now, value is a very broad term, and value really looks different for everyone. I mean, it really depends on where we are in our journey and where we are in our business and what we want at that particular time in our career. For someone, value might look like exposure to 100,000 audience on Instagram. Now, that might be high value for somebody. While through someone else, value might be getting a free supply of pasta for the rest of the year. That's also value. It just depends on where you are in your journey, in your business, what you're looking for at the time, and where you are in your career and where you're moving forward. So value of everything very personally, and it's very subjective. Okay. Now, if you don't know what is of high value to you, you don't know how this project or this particular offer can be beneficial to you, what it can do for you, I'm going to leave you with some very big questions. Okay. In fact, easy questions, but big questions that you can ask yourself, which will get you more clarity and it will allow you to take a very informed decision and know exactly what that project will do for you. Okay. So the number one question that you can ask when you are looking for value in a particular offer is, will it give me experience? Maybe you're just starting out and you need a project to build confidence. Okay. So my first, I have to tell you, my first restaurant photo shoot ever, it was a free photo shoot for a cafe. And for exactly this reason, okay, it was for a cafe that I loved. And it was an amazing cafe. They stood for a social cause and they stood for charity and whatnot. And so for me, I just really resonated with their purpose. And so I offered them a photo shoot in exchange for their dishes. So they would create the food and I would take the photos, right? And guess what? Haha, as expected, as much as you would think went wrong in that particular photo shoot. And there were such big learnings that came out of it. But doing that particular photo shoot without any cost, like it was a free photo shoot, so doing it at no cost was an absolute lifesaver for me. I mean, I didn't work under any pressure and I knew it was a free photo shoot, so I could kind of get away with a few things. And most importantly, what it did was it not only showed me, how to kind of conduct or execute a restaurant photo shoot, but it built my confidence so much. Sometimes all it takes is one photo shoot and it can build your confidence. It can give you so many learnings. And so sometimes that experience, when we are asking ourselves that, will it give me experience? Sometimes that experience could be a new category of photography, like restaurant photography, or maybe you want to experience photographing a new food or a new product, like maybe ice cream or sunscreen or lipstick or some other product. I mean, you could always think of a project in a way that you are trying to build experience and you're trying to build confidence in handling that particular subject or that particular style of photography. And suddenly, when you look at that offer, you're like, oh, okay, yes, it will give me experience with this particular product or this particular style. And that is high value for me right now. So yeah, that offer sounds good, right? So experience could be one thing of value that you consider. The other question that you can ask is, will it broaden my network? Will it make my network base bigger? Now, maybe this project or this offer that's on the table, it actually connects you to big players in the industry, and that will help you get more work. Now, maybe that project involves other parties, like a creative director, an art director. Maybe there are other brands involved, And this project will just give you an opportunity to work along with them and maybe establish contact, become friends. And it would be hard to otherwise get in touch with these directors or brands. Then, yes, access to those big players in the industry or those players in the industry and the chance to just build your network base could be considered as high value for you. At that time, it would be a project that would bring you to new people and to new opportunities for yourself. So, network and broadening your network is another high value point to consider. The other question that you can ask yourself is, will it boost my portfolio? Oh, come on now. Who doesn't want a, hot shot, fantastic star-studded portfolio, right? You can look at that offer and say, is this product or is this brand going to elevate my portfolio? Now, maybe it's a very big hotshot brand, and having them in your portfolio will be a big deal, a huge deal for your professional growth. Or maybe it's a new product like burger, the nightmare food of every photographer, burger. So maybe it's a new product like a burger, and you have no burger shots in your portfolio currently because, to be honest, it's not always easy to assemble a magnificent burger at home. I mean, what you get at, burger joints is so different than what we would typically create at home. So maybe when you have such an opportunity, you have a new product like a burger, that opportunity to shoot, this could be your chance to build that burger portfolio by shooting restaurant-style burgers and then opening up a new category of clients for yourself. Burger joints. Haha. So you could consider a new product to add in your portfolio. Now, whether it's a brand name in your portfolio or a new category of food or product, if it adds value and it elevates your portfolio, taking you forward in the direction that you want to move in, like you want to work with burger joints in your career, that is the path that you want to take, then totally be open to considering an offer that doesn't necessarily pay in cash. Okay. The other way that you can gauge value is by asking, will this project get my foot in the door? Oh my God. Getting a foot in the door is such a tough task, right? Now, maybe you've been longing to work with this brand, and this project could be a start to a long-term relationship with them. Now, I know I'm saying this, but I have some reservations about it, and please allow me to share that. So, I'm also the person who believes that the way we begin working with a brand sets the tone for our future work with them. So, if we begin by working for free with a certain brand, I'm not sure if it sets the right tone. However, let's say there is a real promise from them. Okay. Now, maybe it's an agency that has other clients, and maybe you just want to get your foot in the door with that agency because you know that they have a huge volume of work. Then for sure, getting your foot in the door is high value. Now, if this project can be a starter to a long-term relationship with the brand, most definitely it's a yes. But like I said before, be wary of those who make empty promises. If we begin by working for free, then it may not set the right tone because the expectations are just completely different, right? There are also those who say, oh, yeah, I'm like, we would love to work more with you. Let's do this one project together. Then let's see. We have many other restaurants. We have many other partners. Maybe we can do more work together. And there are all these promises. And many times these are empty promises. So be wary of those who make empty promises. And having said that, I'll also say that even if you fall prey to an empty promise, please don't be heartbroken and don't think like, oh, this is the end of the world. You can always get out. Okay. It's your choice. You always have a choice. You can always get out immediately as soon as you realize, this is not where I should be. This is an empty promise, and that relationship is not going anywhere. All they are doing is taking advantage of me. But many a times, the relationship does go forward, and it goes forward for many, many years. And I'm just sharing that you might want to think about it and stay open about it. Don't always think that everyone is full of empty promises. We have to have that faith, sometimes take a risk, and just go with our gut feeling. So all I'm saying is that stay open to it. If you think that a certain project gets your foot in the door with certain brands, or it can lead up to a long-term relationship with a client that can give you recurring projects, that can bring consistent income, please definitely stay open to it. Okay. Lastly, there is one more question, which I think is highly underrated and it is often missed. And I feel like actually we should all think about it whenever there is an offer and even when there is no offer. And you know why I'm saying this. So, that last question that we can ask ourselves is, will this project give me a sense of purpose? Of purpose. Now, about 4 years ago, I was approached by a non-profit organization to help them with photography. Okay. Now, this organization, they work with women-owned, home-based small businesses. And these are food businesses, product businesses. And most of these women, they come from really low-income groups. So this organization, they got in touch with me and they wanted me to help teach some of those women how to photograph their own products, so they could sell better, and they could get good money for whatever products that they were creating. And also the organization wanted me to photograph catalogs for festivals, for occasions. And basically those catalogs were featuring the products that these women created. Okay. Now, that was a not-for-profit organization. So obviously it meant free photo shoot, free education, free teaching, all from my own time, right? It's a volunteering kind of an effort. And so there's no experience, portfolio building, getting my foot in the door, broadening my network, etc., etc. There's nothing high value here that I could associate, right, with something like this. So how did I decide to work for free for them? When this offer came to me, I felt like this particular style of free photography would give my photography meaning and purpose. If my skills could help women put a roof over their heads and send their kids to better schools, oh my God, it was the highest value for me personally. Okay, so not every offer looks the same. Sometimes a free photo shoot could look like volunteering for a higher cause. And at that time, instead of thinking, oh my God, it's going to take up so much of my time and, there is so much time lost, we can actually think of the high value it brings in enriching the purpose of what we do, what we are passionate about, and what we create. So maybe you go volunteer for an NGO, or maybe not even an NGO. Maybe you have an offer from a company that supports a charity, or an offer from a brand that stands for a huge cause. And your photos can help the less privileged in some way. It can contribute to the society in some way. That is truly soul satisfying. And to me, it is really the highest value. And I know that it can sometimes be a big commitment, but it is totally worth considering. So the bottom line is that there is no right or wrong, my friend. Okay. The decision to work for free looks different for all of us. And so does the idea of value, the idea of high value. Just remember, if you do work for free, if you do work in exchange for product or whatever, you take on an opportunity where you're not being paid fully, do it on your own terms. Remember that whosoever's on the other side, they are going to get some big value from your work, okay? They will benefit in a big way. And it is only fair that you do too, whatever that benefit looks like for you. So never ever forget that golden rule that we said right in the beginning, and that is, what is in it for you? Look out for yourself. Working in exchange for a product or, working for free is a very personal choice. It should. Okay, here's another golden rule. Okay, let's just do 2 golden rules in this episode. Okay, the second one is, which I think is highly critical and as important as the previous one, is that whenever you're working in exchange for product or for free, it should never leave you feeling like you were at a loss. It should never leave you depleted of 3 things. Okay, hear me out very carefully, because this is yet another guide that you need to keep in mind when you are taking this decision. So such opportunities should never leave you depleted of, number 1, depleted of finances. You should never be in a place where you have to spend so much out of your pocket that you're making heavy losses. It should not leave you depleted of finances. Or it should not leave you depleted of joy, so much that you feel like you were taken advantage of, and then you just lose that inspiration and motivation and that fire in yourself, and you have this kind of a bad taste in your mouth. So it should not deplete you of joy, or it should not deplete you of morality. So you should not feel that you supported a brand that you shouldn't have. So when you work for free or in exchange for product, you should make sure that you are never left depleted of these three things: depleted of finances, depleted of joy, and depleted of morality. Okay. So the next time you are offered something other than your full fee, go through this process. Don't you dare take shortcuts. Okay. Go through this process and ask yourself whether the project can bring you any value. Ask yourself, will it give me experience? Will it broaden my network? Will it boost my portfolio? Will it get my foot in the door? Will this give me a sense of purpose? So go ahead, go through this process and ask all those questions so that you can understand what is the value of this project in your journey, in your career at this point. And then you make that call. And once you make that call, make it wisely, weigh your decision, and make sure that whatever you decide fills you up creatively and it fills up your soul. Now, if you've been in such a situation and it was a tough situation and you didn't know what to do, share it with me. I want to know, because I know that all of us who are tuning in right now have gone through this at least once, if not tens and thousands and hundreds of times. I'm exaggerating, but we have gone through it multiple times. So share your experience with me, because I would love to know. And if you have an offer right now, something similar that's on the table, and you don't know how to respond, shoot me an email, DM me on Instagram, and I'll help you out. Or maybe you can just brainstorm with me how best to respond and get the highest value out of that offer. So send me an email on hello@myfoodlens.com or DM me on Instagram at Dyutama_myfoodlens. I hope this episode was helpful, and I hope it will help you make the right choice. With that, I'll see you next week with another episode. Until then, bye-bye.